What's up, everyone? It's Matt Morozic, aka MVM397, and this is actually my first work in progress on Dapne's Suprise by Filmy's Girls and Marc Havican. And I haven't done a video because I was moving along on this pretty quick. So I got this Tuesday, and it's Thursday night, and she's ready for paint. So I'll just describe the steps I went through. I went through and I did my normal sanding and everything with my 3M fine sanding sponge before I did anything else. Went through and I pinned the arms on, I pinned the feet in place. That was a little tricky because I wanted to use magnets to have her on the base. So what I did is I first put a magnet in this foot, because this foot has a very specific place to go into that it fits, which is right here on this little monster guy. So I magnetized the foot and the base first, and then kind of figured out how she needed to stand, because it really isn't that obvious how she has to stand. So once I figured that placement of that foot, I drilled a really nice big hole in this leg and the foot for a pin, which gave me some room to maneuver her position. So then after that, I kind of did the same thing here. I drilled a hole in the base, put a magnet, and I put a magnet in the bottom of this foot, and actually this magnet protrudes just a little bit. She's on there good, as you can see, because she kind of locks into that hole, so it actually works really well. So once I got her feet positioned correctly, I just kind of went real slow, and I had those real nice big holes for the pins for the leg and the foot, and this guy keeps falling out, and I glued this one into place first, and then once I got that situated the way I wanted, I went ahead and glued this one. So that's really the only tricky part of this kit, was getting her feet positioned correctly so she would stand in the right position. So you can see that the magnet sticks out a little bit, but once she's painted, that won't show up. This guy was a little tricky to clean up just because the mold line goes through all those little wrinkles and stuff, so you have to be careful you don't obliterate those. So after the arms were pinned and the feet were pinned, I had to create this fin right here on the shoulder, because there was some breakage in shipping. The middle one and this one were broken off. The middle one I found in the box. This one I didn't find anywhere, so I had to build one. And what I did is I put some pictures. I drilled a couple holes because about half of it was missing. I drilled a hole over here and a hole in her arm, and I did this after the arm was pinned and everything. And I bent a piece of 1/16 brass rod into the shape of a U, and I glued that into place. It would give me something to put putty on. So I just tried to build it up with putty. It wouldn't work. And then it took about 3 applications, but I used Tamiya light curing putty, and I built it up slowly, and I got the shape I wanted, and now you can't tell that it was ever broken. So I'm real happy with that fix. Other than that, it was just my normal steps. So after I did the sanding with the fine sponge, she got a dose of Krylon Max Primer. And after she dried for a day, I wet sanded that with my 3M Superfine sanding sponge. And then she got a dose of, after the Max Primer, I went and filled in, there's probably half a dozen little, I wouldn't say they were pinholes or bubbles, just little imperfections in the kit. Very minor. The molding on this kit is fantastic. As with all the Filmy Girls kits, the mold lines were negligible and sanded right out. The details are really crisp. Everything fit really well. I did have to trim the back side of the neck on this. Actually, her head is magnetized, and it comes off like that. And that way, for painting and stuff. I did have to trim the back of the neck just a little bit to get her head to sit in there flush, but that wasn't a big deal. So after I did all the filling those little imperfections, she got a dose of Mr. Surfacer 1200, and I put that on really, really liberally, probably about 4 or 5 really nice wet coats. And then that dried overnight, and then she got wet sanded one more time with the Superfine sanding sponge and the Ultrafine sanding sponge. And once I was done with all that, I just a few hours ago sprayed her with the last coat of primer, which is Mr. Surfacer 1500, and as you can see, it is super smooth. I mean, this looks really, really good. There's one little thing I see that in her eye. I had to go through and rescribe the pupils because, as usual, I use a lot of primer. So her eyes were getting kind of filled in a little bit, and it'll focus. So on the camera left, it doesn't show up in camera a little bit, but I kind of screwed up when I was rescribing. There's a little gash below the eye, so I have to go in there and just put a little bit of spot putty. And also, I'm just now noticing that this eyebrow, I'm not sure if I sanded it off or it really wasn't there to begin with, but the eyebrows aren't too pronounced, but I'll have to, after they're painted, it won't be a big deal. But look how smooth her skin is after that Surfacer 1500. Just really, really silky smooth. It looks really good. That's the first time I used that primer. I typically use the 1200, but the 1500 is a finer primer and goes on really slick. So she's ready for paint. I primed the base in Krylon. I don't know, call it the red. I can't think of the name right now. Just because it's going to do a Marc's color. I really like the box art in Marc Havican's paint up color scheme. I may have to steal that and kind of go the same direction because I really, really like it. I usually don't copy other people's paint schemes because I like to try to do my own, but it looks really good with that kind of gold and purple and the red color of the base. The color combination works really good, so I may have to steal that and just do my own interpretation of it. But there's Dapne Suprise. Oh, by the way, huge shout out to Randy Van Dyke. Oh crap, I just forgot his name. Pretty sure it's Randy Van Dyke. I was looking to get this kit for a long time, and it's been out of production for a while. Marc tried to find one for me, and he was unable to do so. So I just put a little note on Facebook asking if anyone had one to sell, and within a day, Randy found someone willing to sell it, and he sold it to me for what he paid for. So she's gonna look really good next to my Stella. So there's Dapne Suprise. She's ready for paint, and I'll do a video tomorrow of Freya. She's just about ready for paint also. So I'll have 2 figures to throw paint on in the next week or so. But so it's like a work in progress for Dapne Suprise. The next one will be some paint. But as always, thanks for watching. Matt Morozic, aka MVM3897, signing off. Catch you next time.